So we are live from the car on 17 business, no, not 17 regular in South Carolina in Murals Inlet because I'm late. But that's okay. It doesn't look like anybody's there but me. So that works. And I have a whole bunch of people back here.
It's been drinking.
Oh no,
I'm just the only one in sobriety.
There we go. Well, I don't even know if anybody's joining us tonight or not. Tonight we're supposed to talk about Venezuela. So I'm going to wait to see if any of you feel like joining. And if you do, then we'll have a show. And if you don't, screw you. And screw all of us. No, honestly, thank you for joining us for this special edition of Let's Talk Live. Friday nights is usually date night, and so we all go out as a big crew, and so we usually don't have a show. But since the debate hijacked the show last night, I decided that we should go live tonight and talk about Venezuela. But again, I know it's not my usual night, and there's a reason that we don't go live on Fridays, is because nobody usually wants to watch StreamYard on a Friday night. So, and I think I was right, and I'm being proven right because there's nobody here. Still nobody here. The one Democrat in the car is laughing right now.
No, there's two Democrats.
No, she's an independent. I have one person here. Okay, very good. All right, so I'll show you some funny stuff while I'm figuring out what is going on because I'm almost to the house. But let's start with our first video of why we need term limits. Let's see where it is. Hold on a second. Here we go.
Kidnapping them.
So that was Mitch McConnell day before yesterday falling down in the halls of the Senate. So come on, people. Really, could you imagine how much money we would save if we didn't need two people for all these really old members of Congress, to hold them up so that they can get from one place to the other? But it wasn't just Mitch McConnell that we had a problem with. I don't know where to put my hands. I'm still on my phone. I will be to my house in about 1 minute. But
Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day? Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you. Congresswoman Pelosi.
And I have to push the button to say, oh, I can't see anything on this phone. Okay, so here's the deal. We're going to walk you into the house with me, and then I'm going to get on my computer. All right. Hold on. Don't go away. I'm almost there with you. Hold on a second. Okay, we're going to go onto the computer and then we can chat. I'm sorry about that. There was traffic that I did not expect. And so, listen, it's my show. What do you expect? It's always going to be freaking ridiculous, right? All right, here we go. We're signing in. So I can't see your comments until I sign in. So hang on a second. Stay with me. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to ask my husband to come in and get the wire so that we can be connected to the internet. That would be good, right? All right. Hopefully we won't get disconnected. All right. And here we are. There we go. Yeah. All right. Hold on a second. I have. Okay. There we go. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hello. Yeah, I know. Oh boy. Who said oh boy? Yeah. Hello, Angela. Good to have you tonight. Hello, Debbie. Good to have you. These dinosaurs are physically disabled and the young ones are mental. Shut up. That's the truth, isn't it? I mean, we are, I don't know what to do. We've got them coming and going, whether they're old, young, it's just crazy. Hello, Susan Durema. Thank you for joining on this special edition. How was your dinner? Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you. I feel beautiful tonight. Dinner was great. We went to a place called Cafe Piccolo, and that is in Pawleys Island, which is the foo-foo area of South Carolina. We live in the next town over, but we do have a place there in Pawleys Island, and it's for rent. So we do short-term rentals there. And let me tell you something. This place is fantastic. Look it up. Cafe Piccolo. I think that they spell it Cafe and Piccolo, Piccolo. It is. You can sit out in the garden, and that's where you have dinner, and or you can eat inside. Tonight we ate inside because it was a little cold. It was about 55 or 60 degrees tonight, but it's great Italian food. I mean, absolutely great Italian food. So I had diver scallops with pappardelle and shiitake mushroom sauce. Unbelievable. So if ever you're down in the Myrtle Beach, Murals Inlet, Pawleys Island area, you should go to Cafe Piccolo. You'll have a lot of fun. Okay. Oh, Tony Herbert. You and I got to talk. My little brother, I love him. Good to have you with us tonight. And it's on me. I should have called you as soon as I saw what was going on in the world, but I will call you. Next time I come down, let's go. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, when you come down in the spring or the summer, let's, in the winter, I mean, it was lovely inside, but they have like all these little rooms outside with a little fireplace and all kinds of flowers and beautiful tables. If you go to Piccolo, you have to eat outside. You just absolutely have to eat outside. Okay, so tonight, our deal tonight is we're talking about Trump going to Venezuela. Okay, so people are giving him a hard time because he is bombing submarines out of the waters of Venezuela. And somehow or another, the Democrats think that this is absolutely incorrect and that he should be chastised for it. But Venezuela is it's the hub for bringing drugs into not only the United States, but other countries. And Maduro encourages it because he gets money from them, because he's nothing but a thief and a criminal. So when I see Democrats giving him a hard time for Marines, I just want to pull my hair out. Somebody asked him today, and I should have had the clip, but I don't. Somebody asked him today about, why he didn't use well, actually I have this clip. Let's watch this clip. Watch. Here it is.
On Venezuelan boats, I want to ask you, why not have the Coast Guard stop them, which it is empowered by law to do? This way you can confirm who's on the boat and ensure that they're doing what you suspect.
Because we've been doing that for 30 years, and it has been totally ineffective.
What's the next step in this war on cartels, and are you considering options, are you considering strikes on land?
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. When they're loaded up with drugs, they're fair game. And every one of those ships they're not ships, they're boats.
Why did you authorize the CIA to go into Venezuela? And is there more information you can share about these strikes on the alleged
Well, I can't
drug
do
boats in
that,
the
but
Caribbean?
I authorized for two reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. They came in through the border. They came in because we had an open border policy. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela. And a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea, so you get to see that. But we're going to stop them by land also.
Does the CIA have authority to take out Maduro?
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer?
And he's right. He shouldn't be answering that question because that's showing your hand, if you will, to Maduro and to what's going on in Venezuela. But I'm going to share my screen now because I want you to see the bullshit, the absolute bullshit in the reporting of some of these news hubs, mainstream media. Look at what NBC has to say here. NBC, U.S. has 2 survivors in custody after strike on alleged Venezuelan cartel boat. I mean, are you kidding me? Alleged Venezuela cartel boat? U.S. Navy helicopters were dispatched. Oh, wait, hold on. I know. Wait, I got to get rid of this. As part of the search and rescue team after overheard videos showed people who seem to have survived the initial strike. I mean, it is insanity. And I'm going to play this clip for you. Hold on a second. Let me just get it all teed up. I'm going to play this clip for you so that you can listen to Trump.
Drugs, just so you understand. This was not an innocent group.
Wait. There we go.
After a series of deadly U.S. strikes against boats the Trump administration says were smuggling drugs into the U.S., tonight we're learning the latest strike had a twist. At least 2 people on board survived the blast, according to 2 U.S. officials. U.S. Navy helicopters were overhead and a boat picked them up, the officials said. They remain in U.S. custody tonight. President Trump describing the strike.
We attacked a submarine, and that was a drug-carrying submarine built specifically for the transportation of massive amounts of drugs, just so you understand. This was not an innocent group of people. I don't know too many people that have submarines.
The president appearing to reference a semi-submersible like this one that authorities say cartels use to smuggle drugs. This is the 6th boat the U.S. military has struck in international waters, killing at least 29 people, according to the Trump administration. Though some in Congress are questioning whether the strikes are legal.
And we're undertaking these operations against narco-terrorists. That's what these are.
The U.S. considers Venezuela's authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro illegitimate. President Trump was asked about reports Maduro had offered the U.S. a stake in Venezuela's natural resources.
He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to around with the United States.
And with that, Courtney joins us live. And Courtney, I know you.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just get rid of this. So he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States, but and Colleen says it best: the left always supports the criminals. How can you say allegedly? You are the news media, and you know that Venezuela has been the linchpin for bringing drugs and fentanyl into America. You know this to be true. I mean, everybody knows this to be true, but we're allegedly. He's lining up there. Yeah, he is lining up there. That's where he's taking his stand. Insanity. They're so full of shit and continue the lies. Listen, we all have to call it out. We have to call it out for what it is. Trump is a serious player. These left-wing liberals and government officials are used to a no action administration and a no working government, which has turned into NGO and slush fund organizations ran by the bureaucrats. This is fuck around and find out administration. You're absolutely right about that. And I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, there was a time in history when Venezuela was, you know, a beautiful country, an absolutely beautiful country. And then what happened to them? They elected a socialist socialist president. And all of a sudden, they were just like Cuba. They were just like Nazi Germany. They were just like Italy under Mussolini. They were just like China under Xi. I don't understand why people don't understand what socialism does to society. It never brings what it promises. It never brings relief. And, you know, the thing that gets me crazy, especially after watching the debate with you last night, the thing that gets me crazy is that, yeah, New York is very expensive. Rents are expensive. Gas is expensive. Groceries are expensive. Everything's expensive in New York. And New York has been controlled by Democrats for years. When Pataki was there, when Giuliani and Pataki together were there, when Bloomberg was there, New York was not prohibitive. Now it is. So how do people believe that Mamdani and his notions of giving free everything is going to work? I mean, you know, there was a saying, no free lunch, for a reason. Because there is no free lunch. You got to pay for everything. Hello, Mickey. Yes, a week away, and you'll be coming to dinner with us next Friday. We're looking forward to it. They were a top economy in the 1980s. Think about that. It was gorgeous in the 80s. Gorgeous. The same way that Cuba was gorgeous. I just don't understand. Nobody rows a boat to escape America to go to socialist countries. And that's true. And as Trump rightly said, who the hell owns a submarine? Who owns a submarine? You know, do you think regular drug dealers just go, oh, I'm going to buy a submarine? I don't care. Well, put it this way. Businessmen, have you ever heard of a businessman who owns a submarine? I'm just going to buy a submarine. That's what I need. I just enjoy submarines, and I have nothing to do with my money. No. If you own a submarine, chances are the government bought it for you. Some government somewhere bought it for you. You don't just go out and buy a submarine. It's not like, you know, Lexus. Yeah, you don't go to a showroom and go, yes, I would like that. And is the periscope included? Give me a break. The VZ bridge was supposed to be free and now subsidizes the MTA. How will MTA ever be free? Okay, really, really good point, Colleen. So the Verrazano Bridge was supposed to just be charged as toll until it paid for itself, for those of you who don't know, until it paid for itself. And then, thereon, it was supposed to be free. But then somebody got a great idea in the state legislature, by the way. It was a senator from Long Island that said, well, we need a railway to go to Manhattan because we have all the workers, but they can't get into Manhattan. And Manhattan has all the jobs, but they don't have any workers. And so the Long Island Railway was now become subsidized by the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. And you would say to yourself, well, how does that work? Well, it worked because what they said was that the proceeds from the Verrazano Narrow Bridge would go to the subway or mass transit system to ensure that it flowed smoothly. Now, interestingly, Staten Island doesn't have a mass transit system. It has one train, Sertoa, Staten Island, or it used to be SIRR, Staten Island Rapid Railway, and now it's Sertoa, Staten Island Independent Rapid Transportation, I don't know, something alternative. And that's run by the Department of Transportation. The MTA now operates the Verrazano Narrow Bridge, even though it was a department of, what was it? The Tri-Borough Bridge and Tunnel Authority. Okay, so anyway, what happened is that this legislation appeared, and this senator managed to get money for his Long Island Railroad to subsidize the tickets for the train. And the businesses in Manhattan said that that was just fine because they needed the workers. So Staten Islanders who have no rapid transportation or mass transportation are subsidizing the Long Island Railway. And oh, by the way, the rest of the subway system for the MTA. Now, when I was running for borough president, the one thing that I did say was that it should, we should have smart lights on Staten Island, and that the Verrazano Bridge toll surplus should go to pay for those smart lights, because we don't have mass transit like the rest of the boroughs. We don't have a train station like the Long Island Railroad. So the only mass transit we have on Staten Island are buses. And the only way to make the buses run as smoothly as the trains was to have smart light technology installed across Staten Island to keep everything flowing. That was one of my ideas. Obviously, I didn't win, so nobody's talking about that. But I still maintain that that's what should happen. And Andrew Lanza and Sam Pirazzolla and Charles Fall and all of them should be talking about using smart light technology on Staten Island and paying for it with the Verrazano Narrow Bridge. The Visa Bridge, okay, we talked about that. I'm sorry. Our generation does understand it. That's where the money comes from. Us, the youngsters, get our money. The ones voting for Mamdani are the receivers. The ones who don't vote for Mamdani will be the payers. You're absolutely right, but the payers won't pay because, Deb, you tell me that if Mamdani comes in, all of you, I mean, all you 100 people that are watching right now, that whoever that are in New York, are you going to stay in New York if Mamdani wins? Unless you have to for some reason. Or are you going to hop over and be in New Jersey? Because Ciccarelli is going to win in New Jersey for sure. And so New Jersey is going to be the next hot place to be. Ghislaine Maxwell had a submarine. We know what she did. That's true, she did. And I'm sure drug running and sex trafficking was part of it. Does Elon Musk have a submarine? I don't think so. I think that he really spends his time looking at spaceships. So, all right, wow, we're almost through the show already. Holy shit. All right, I showed you Mitch. All right, so on this channel for many months, Jen and I made fun of John Fetterman. Mostly because he was so left wing, and the Democrats broke their back, right, to get him elected, and then broke their back to change all the rules so that he would be comfortable in the Senate. All of a sudden, John Fetterman is saying things that the Democrats don't like, and pretty soon they're not going to let him wear his hoodie to the Senate anymore. Watch.
Talk about what, the possibility of what could be. The Abraham Accords, which started a number of years ago in Trump won. It's just incredible if the Abraham Accords are expanded, include like Saudi Arabia and some other of those countries there. I mean, it really would be, it'd be such a change the first time in 70 plus years that there might be real peace in the region.
Oh, of course, that would be remarkable. Imagine if Saudi Arabia and Israel, I think that would be a significant domino that would bring more and more people into this. I mean, that's part of why I say we're in different parties, but the president is absolutely committed to Israel's security, as I am, and that's why I celebrate a lot of the accomplishments that he's had.
So all of a sudden, this man says that MAGA is not the enemy, and that what Trump did for Israel was fantastic. And all of a sudden, all of the Democrats want his head on a platter. Repent, Leticia. He had a coming to Jesus moment when he had his stroke. Yeah, well, you're right. I have repented. I have. Listen, I thought he was a moderate before, but then when he had his stroke and he was having a hard time, I guess other people were talking for him and they were really leftist. And so, you know me, I'm merciless. I don't care. I mean, listen, I had a brain aneurysm. I'm still here. So I don't ask for excuses. Whatever I was said and did, that I take full responsibility and accountability for. While he was having other people talk for him, what they were talking about was nonsense. Now suddenly we see the real John Fetterman, and it's making a lot of sense, more sense than most people in the Democratic Party. He actually reminds me a lot of Manchin, a lot. Fetterman is now the voice of reason. Yeah, but right, doesn't he remind you of Manchin? It's really interesting. So anyway, I'm going to share my screen again. Let's see. This is interesting. Hold on a second. Here it is. Takes me a minute to do this. Let's see if I could do it that way. No, I can't do it that way. So Alex Acosta cleared Trump of wrongdoing in the Epstein case, the GOP says. The former U.S. Attorney and Labor Secretary sat for an interview with the Congressional Investigations in September. Republicans on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee took a victory lap Friday after releasing a transcript of their recent interview with former U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta regarding Jeffrey Epstein, saying it provides evidence President Donald Trump was not involved in the case against a late convicted sex offender. Acosta never talked to Trump about Epstein, the Republican majority of the Oversight Committee said in a post on X, attaching a screenshot of Acosta's interview from September, not in person, not on the phone, and not over email. At one point in the exchange between lawmakers and Acosta, who appeared before the committee as part of its ongoing investigation into the Epstein case, Oversight Committee ranking members Rep. Robert Garcia, Democrat of California, asked, "So you never, the entire time you were U.S. Attorney, you never once spoke to Donald Trump?" Acosta replied, according to the interview transcript, "The entire time? Let me be more clear. I did not speak with President Trump, with Donald Trump, before I was considered for labor." Asked by another Democrat whether Trump was named in any document in the Epstein case, Acosta said he did not recall any such instance. Oversight Democrats, however, had a starkly different takeaway from Acosta's interview with the Sarah Guerrero, a Democrat spokesman, arguing his remarks suggested a lack of contrition for his part in the case. Quote, "The transcripts of Alex Acosta's interview confirmed that we've known all along. He has no remorse for his mishandling of the Epstein case," Guerrero said in a statement. "Because of the deal Alex Acosta gave Epstein, he was able to continue assaulting and raping young women and girls for another decade. No matter how House Republicans try to spin this, Oversight Democrats will keep pushing for the truth." Okay, so, here's the thing. This whole Epstein thing, I'm just over it now. Because if there was something truly there with the Epstein files, then Joe Biden would have gotten that out as soon as possible. Surely, before, when he needed to press his advantage as a sitting president, that would have been more damning than what they tried to do with the DOJ and the persecution over the documents, right? The top secret documents and the charade that they did with the FBI, showing all the pictures of files and everything, and raiding poor Melania's underwear drawer. It would have been easier than the what's her name? E. Carroll case. It would have been easier than sending the guys from the DOJ to what's his face's office, the district attorney of New York. Why can't I think of his name? Because I hate him. His office and Tish James and all the things that were done. If they had information about Epstein, it would have been easier, cheaper, and 100% more effective if they would have just let that out. Bragg, thank you, Alvin Bragg, thank you. So no, just no. Once the fog cleared from the stroke, he realized common sense, like when I got sober. Oh, Colleen says about that. That's about John Fetterman. It's true. I think that he was always a moderate. I mean, that's what we always saw, except for when everybody else was talking for him. Amazing to listen to him now, and the left can't handle the truth. No, but they go after their own. Do you see that? If you break with them, they go after you. That's why Manchin had to leave. That's why Cinema turned an independent. They push them out. They won't. There's no. You can't disagree with them. Conversely, Trump puts Vance in as VP, the man that went after him in the Senate. Trump puts Tulsi Gabbard in. Trump puts Robert Kennedy Jr. in. Trump puts Elon Musk all in positions of power. All people who were once his enemies or on the other side. Democrats, all. But not the Democrats. The Democrats, if you're an enemy, you have to be, nailed to the wall. 4 years of Biden, nobody pushed for Epstein files. They will bury themselves again. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They spent all that money with putting the guy from DOJ, Eric, what's his name, into Alvin Bragg's office to try and bring that case after Alvin said he wasn't going to bring the case because he didn't have a case. And then they made up charges. And then Tish James, and then the two paid off justices, so that they could get what they needed. Come on. So if they had anything on Epstein, don't you think that they would have just put it out? Of course they would have. Would have been so much easier. They had to make up Russiagate. They had to make up the laptop from the laptop was disinformation. Please, I agree. They tried everything else to try to keep him from running. Right, Lou. Right, absolutely right. So you're telling me if it was right there in the files, right there, okay, Donald Trump, Epstein, young girls, Epstein Island, they're not going to lead with that? Put it this way. If they didn't, it was either for one of two reasons. Either they were guilty themselves or there was nothing there. I'm going with the latter. Hello, Mickey. Hello, darling. Maybe Trump's plan is to get the Dems to demand the release and expose everything. Maybe. More legislators should be more open-minded and give credit when due. Yeah, they should. But, that Obama he divided this country in a way that nobody ever believed. And then he started taking it down the wrong road. It's a cabal. It is. Absolutely. I believe Trump was working in the last 4 years before he became the president in 2024 with this administration. They're all the dream team. I agree with you. Trump would have owned the business, not a customer. Just saying. Yeah, that's the truth. But the man is, he doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. Usually if you're going to be debaucherous, you're gonna have all those chemicals and all that other shit alongside of it. I mean, if you're a sexual deviant, it usually goes hands in hand. I don't know. I'm not saying I know sexual deviants, but what we know of them, none of them are ever sober. None of them. I've never heard of a stone cold sober, a teetotaling person who is also a sexual deviant. Never. Maybe you have. I mean, and if I'm wrong, put it in the comments. I don't recall ever having heard of a teetotaler sexual deviant. They're usually all drunk or chemically induced high. Anyway, 35 minutes in the show, and I know that I was late and crazy in the beginning. Trump, okay, we said that already. So I guess it's time to say goodbye. No sin stands alone. Yeah, you're right about that. I was happy to be able to be here with you on a Friday night. As I said before, I don't think Fridays are great for videos and stuff because most people go out and do dinner and whatever. But I love that you guys hung out with me. I love hanging out with you guys. You are the best. We'll see. Maybe we'll expand it to Fridays. You have a nice weekend too. I love you all. I am going to take tomorrow off, and I will see you on Sunday. So all of you have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me for this special edition of Let's Talk News. And if you have anything you want to talk about, please put it in the comments and I will do a deep dive into it for you. Love you all. Talk to you tomorrow. Oh, wait. What's Lou say? Not to get off track, but how are we going to save New York when they elect that commie? Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to stay a minute longer for that, Lou. You're not. You're not. The problem with New York is that's the place where all the indigents are coming. Okay. Once Adams let all, Cuomo said last night at the debate, the mistake was to make all of the refugees come to New York City. And I thought that was a terrible comment. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you truly respected people's choices, then you wouldn't say, well, you're not allowed here or you're not allowed there. The problem wasn't letting all the people come to New York City. The problem was letting all the people come across the border. That was the problem. And that was a Biden problem. But it wasn't really a Biden problem. It was an Obama problem. It was something that the woke Democrats did to undermine America. Okay, so let's start with that. But here's your problem, your big problem. When that all happened, whoever didn't leave when Hochul invited us all to leave, all the Republicans to leave the state, when the income tax went up over 50, that's when the rest of the working people left. And now what you have left in New York is the working middle class, the people who have no choice. They want to get their retirement. So how do you defeat a man when you have a 3-man race and one of the men are a Republican and the other one is a tainted governor? Well, the only way I could see how to do it is that Cuomo and Curtis have to get together. But even that, I don't know. I think it's too late now. I mean, the polls are showing that Cuomo dropped down under 30, that Curtis is still stagnant at 13, and that Mamdani is now over 50. So unless you all spend every single day, all your time off, out on the streets, knocking on doors, ensuring that your neighbors vote for other than Mamdani, but who will they vote for? Should they vote for Cuomo or should they vote for Curtis? Well, nobody really wants Cuomo because Cuomo went with the woke people and screwed up New York with the cashless bail and all this stuff. But independents and Democrats don't want to vote for a Republican. So what can happen? I would say that you should all flood the inbox of Cuomo and Curtis, and you should tell them to get together. I don't care who's at the front, but there needs to be a mayor, deputy mayor situation. And you have to beg them to figure it out between them. Because if Mamdani wins, I'm going to blame it squarely on Cuomo and Curtis because they couldn't get their shit together. And if they can't read the tea leaves and the numbers, then neither one of them deserve to be mayor. So that's my 2 cents. All right. Good night, everybody. I will see you on Sunday. Have a good evening and a good weekend.